At the end of last season, West Bromwich Albion supporters really did have something to shout about. Not only had their heroes reached the semi-final of the FA Cup and won their place in European football, but they were on the brink of an historic football first. For their next match, they would exchange the forbidding streets of Birmingham for the forbidden city of Peking. This is the familiar face of China, the gentle images that conceal the turbulent past and the uneasy present of a great country. Ever since Marco Polo, visitors from the West have claimed to find China a place of mystery, which 30 years of Maoist ideology has hardly helped to simplify. It remains the most foreign of all foreign lands. Today, China is just emerging from a period of isolation and internal conflict, coming in from the cold. Hence the visit of West Bromwich Albion, the first professional football team from Britain, or indeed from Western Europe, ever to visit the People's Republic of China.
Not very impressed, lads.
And there you see one of the local peasants. Tell you what, they utilise every piece of ground, don't they?
The party includes the club's chairman and directors, the businessmen who raise the money, representatives of the Football Association, the Sports Council and the press, as well as the footballers and their manager.
Is it milk and sugar tea or black tea?
In Peking, Albion is to play its two big matches, one against China's national team, to be followed by fixtures in Shanghai and Canton. But this is no ordinary end-of-season tour, something that becomes clear to Albion's captain, John Wile, at the welcoming banquet.
I think I realised from the start that football perhaps was taking second place. We were in some ways being used, and not being used in a nasty sort or an underhand way, but we were being used to reach more people than perhaps a diplomat coming over here could possibly reach, or any other form of contact. We could reach 80,000 people in 90 minutes.
Ah, I see. Chinese food. Good evening. Speak English.
You don't no?
Speak English?
Don't speak English?
He speaks English. Thank you.
Straight in, eh? Never mind the food, go on with the flags. Thank you. You're struggling.
Hi, Bruce. See, he's moving, but I can't eat the food, as you say. What a laugh, it's going to be.
Which places have you visited in Peking?
British Embassy.
British Embassy.
The food. Food. Chinese food.
For the footballers, this is the first taste of the formal hospitality that the Chinese lavish on visitors they regard as important. Judging from the scale of this banquet and the ones that follow in the other cities, the importance of the tour goes far beyond football or footballers.
Good luck. All the best, Ollie.
我们向你们学习。Good health.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Haven't got any fish and chips, have you?
The hosts on this occasion are from the All China Sports Federation, but it seems at times that sport is the last consideration.
It's the beer. Next time. Yes. Good luck. Some beer. Some beer, yes. All the best now.
Even the motto of the tour, inscribed on menus and match programs, reads, "Friendship before competition."
We come here today in a spirit of friendship. We shall be playing in a spirit of friendship. We shall play to win, but in so doing, we shall win and aim to win new friends.
这是我们英国足球俱乐部首次访问中华人民共和国，我们十分荣幸应邀访问。
In Chinese or in English, this is clearly more the language of diplomacy than sport. Considering how much is at stake, it is perhaps asking a lot of professional footballers that they should play the unfamiliar role of diplomat. Lacking any precise guidance, they improvise.
What is it?
this is 牛肉吧
It's octopus, I don't fancy that.
just the chopsticks. You can try.
I don't want that. Do you want that?
Hey, I like them.
No. Do you want it? It's not too appetising, that is it?
The thing in the middle is the sea cucumber. Sea cucumber. I don't know the English expression.
I'll not bloody catch the next one. Wait a minute. Yeah! Yes! What about that then?
Thank you. Come in. Thank you very much for the evening and the hospitality.
Thank you.
I had literally everything.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye, thanks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Nice man. Goodbye.
The morning after. At sunrise in Peking, behind the Forbidden City, the old imperial palace, citizens use the gardens for a whole range of activities before they set off for work. At this early hour, most of the footballers are still in bed, conserving their energies for the afternoon match, except for Cyrille Regis, Brendon Batson and Laurie Cunningham. Throughout the trip, they're the most persistent sightseers. With the Albion party representing the Sports Council is former Olympic medalist John Disley. He sets a fine example by running everywhere and persuading others to run with him.
I suppose if more of us cycled to work, we wouldn't have to go jogging, John.
No, I don't suppose that these people have any cardiovascular problems if they, as I believe a lot of them, cycle as much as 6 miles to work. And 6 miles home at night. None of them are very overweight if you look at them. No, I don't think they have any great need to supplement their daily life with a bit of jogging like we have.
Do you think we've got anything else to learn from the Chinese about fitness?
Well, I think what we've seen earlier today as well, I think their older people obviously realise the usefulness of these stretching exercises, this shadow boxing. You see, really it's mobility, range of movement, and doing it socially in a group like that much more pleasant than trying to do it in the loneliness of your bedroom every morning.
Right, yeah.
Particularly with older people. They're encouraged by seeing others tackle the problem.
And of course diet as well. I suppose their diet is naturally rather more sensible than ours.
Well, they don't overeat like we do, that's for sure. Perhaps the temptations aren't there anyway.
Come on then, let's see. You're a winger. Come on, hit. Hold shots. Come on, hit.
Wall out!
Whatever expectations other people may have had about the visit, manager Ron Atkinson is in China to see his team play football and play it well.
Oh, he's done him at the near.
Tell you what, that was a dolly for that corner. You missed it, that.
While the footballers train, the non-playing members of the party are able to visit Peking's tourist attractions, to join the thousands of Chinese who daily visit the magnificent Imperial Summer Palace, to admire the Sea of Wisdom Temple, the pavilion for listening to orioles, and the Hall of Dispelling the Clouds. Most of it has been carefully restored since it was sacked by British troops for the second time in 1901, a fact that the Chinese guides are too tactful to mention to the West Bromwich Albion directors.
Oh, this park has got a history of over 800 years. It was built at first it was built in 1153.
But the directors aren't satisfied with history from guidebooks. They're anxious to record a little of their own.
Lovely.
Oh, no. You do that. Come on, get him on smile. Get him on the boys. That's it. Okay, Snake. Here we go.
Here we are.
That's good. That's moving.
What about that? Go on then. You got us.
Lovely. Thank you very much. They're wonderful lads, you know, these. You're a good lad, aren't you? I shake hands with you as well. Good man. Very friendly. Very good. Very good.
Back at the hotel, trouble for international referee Jack Taylor. Because of an injured Achilles tendon, it seems he'll never be able to referee the afternoon match. Then the Chinese send in their top sports doctor.
It
hurts now, but you will feel relaxed afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Taylor, if you want to referee this afternoon, the doctor says it's no problem, and he will give you another treatment before the match.
For this first encounter with a select Peking side, the Albion will play before a capacity crowd of 80,000. In a country that has just emerged from a period of severe cultural austerity, when almost all amusement was considered politically suspect, any opportunity for entertainment is eagerly seized. All 4 matches are played to capacity crowds. Whether the Chinese expect their team to win, neither they nor the press reveal. Certainly, the English visitors, after watching one game between local teams, are quietly confident. If West Bromwich are not expecting too much in the way of opposition on this tour, then that's understandable. Even though the Chinese have a male population of perhaps 400 million to choose from, football has not been very widely played here till the past 30 years, whereas, of course, as Britons, the West Bromwich team come from the cradle of football, its very birthplace. But do they? Perhaps they might not be quite so confident if they knew that 400 years before Christ, football of a kind was being played in China, and that by the 13th century it was widely popular. A writer of the period describes the game that took place on the birthday of the Emperor Haizong. It sounds rather more colourful than today's game. It was played by men and by women and by the court eunuchs, a sort of three-way event. We're told the goalposts were 30 feet high and were decorated with silken ribbons and coloured scarves. But perhaps most remarkable, the writer tells us, rather tetchily it seems to me, the game is so popular among the imperial family that skillful footballers can ingratiate themselves into top government positions, or with every kind of deference to Ron Atkinson and his boys. I'm glad that football fever doesn't go that far today.
Right, first of all, from what we've seen the other night, it's obvious that we've probably got a little bit more on our plate than we expected. You know, they look as if they're of a higher standard, certainly, than I thought. Let's not let them pressure us. Let us reverse it and pressure them. But the first 20 minutes, all important. Nobody goes out and poses. Nobody goes out and thinks they're playing on holiday. It's extremely important that we get the right result today. You know, it's been a little bit of a mixed trip. Now, what we don't want under any circumstances to make it a farce.
Don't go swapping any shirts after the game. I'll say get away with it. Don't swap any shirts.
In another dressing room, the doctor administers another dose of Chinese medicine, in this case, acupuncture. For Jack Taylor's injured leg, fortunately, as a referee, he's used to getting an earful. Outside and hardly less at sea, the mighty band of Albion supporters, all 10 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acupuncture, another Chinese mystery, some say a fraud. Can he really kill the pain in Jack's leg by sticking pins in his ear?
Hello. They've made a team change. Where? Be a big smile out here, mate. Yeah.
By the English football team, West Bromwich Albion, China, will now begin.
The West Bromwich players had been shy about taking part in this ceremonial opening to the tour, and John Trewick was only persuaded to carry the flag after earnest assurances that in China it's regarded as the highest possible honour. Just in time, Jack Taylor is back on his feet.
I've never had manipulations like it before. It was entirely different. And after that, it seemed easier, but I wasn't quite sure whether it's because he created so much pain in other places that I tended to forget the pain I've got in the heel. But if I have to make an analysis, which in the light of day I've got to when I go home, and I say this man did something that no one at home could have done for me.
You okay? Now, you have a look at the nets. Yes. Test the nets, okay? Nets. You have a look at the nets. I don't think he understands, but still.
I'll go and do the nets.
All right.
After a few minutes' play, the pundits are saying that the Chinese players are fit and fast and individually skillful. It's also obvious, according to the same pundits, that the Chinese are tactically naive and that they suffer from a severe lack of international experience.
Our bomber's good enough. Yeah, but that's good play. Go on, get at it. Don't take his space. Get at it.
That's it, Laurie. You've got to produce, Laurie. You've got to produce.
Keep coming at me. It's bomber again. Bomber again. There's only bomber making that. Once he's got him twice.
To those of us less well informed about football, the expert judgment on the Chinese seems less than generous, particularly when they come close to scoring the first goal.
Give it the bomber. Give it the bomber. Give it the bomber. Not a bad match, mind, is it?
Towards the end of the first half, Albion's experience really begins to show. It's Cyrille Regis who scores. For the little band of supporters high on the terrace, the £900 they've paid to be here is for a moment forgotten. 1-0 is the half-time score.
All I'm saying is, if you get in the final third, just concentrate on your quality of ball and you concentrate on your movement. If you're static, you've no chance. If you're moving, you'll leave them for dead. Every time you move, they are dead.
I think they'll tie you the second half because the way they've been chasing the ball, they can't keep that up before.
But this half, they might stretch it.
How's the leg holding up, Jack?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I can feel it, but it's not that painful. I can't run. Sorry.
Although West Bromwich quickly go 2 goals ahead, the Chinese respond with several dangerous-looking moves. Finally, their efforts are rewarded. In the event, it's the only Chinese goal the home crowd enjoy during the entire tour. And although they're less partisan than a British crowd, it obviously disappoints them that the English team so quickly come back with a 3rd goal. A 3-1 defeat for the home team. But when it comes to winning and losing, the Chinese leadership, at least, has different goals in mind. Since everything that happens in China is political, what is the significance of this visit at this time?
I think it has to be seen in the perspective of political developments in China since the early 1970s, when China, led by Zhou Enlai, and obviously with the agreement of Chairman Mao, embarked on a new period of diplomacy, which saw the visit of Nixon to China, and China's mending its relations with Japan and so on, and China's entry into the United Nations. Then China began to take up membership in world forums of various kinds. Now that process was interrupted by the struggle with the Gang of Four, and with the overthrow of the Gang of Four, the diplomacy angle has been resumed, and I think one has to see the visit of West Bromwich Albion to China in that particular
context.
So it's the continuation of ping-pong diplomacy with a bigger ball. And like all diplomats, the Albion players get the VIP treatment. The ball game becomes the wall game, as they're taken off for the ritual visit to the Great Wall and canvassed by Chinese radio on their reaction to it.
Now, right now, on the Great Wall,
yes.
What's in your mind?
Well, a tremendous feeling, you know, it's a wonderful experience. I don't suppose we'll ever get the chance again, and as I say, it's tremendous.
You enjoy it?
Oh yes, very much so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
John Disley, who spent his life with sportsmen, is surprised how many footballers have chosen to come sightseeing.
Having travelled with an athletic team over the years, I've seen them totally ignore some of the wonders of the world for the sake of walking 50 yards up some steps to see them. The British athletic team in Athens, at the foot of the Acropolis, I reckon 3/4 of them never actually got to the Parthenon, which was, 40 yards away. I think this team actually has done quite well because there's always been a sort of residue of the team prepared to come and have a look. I think they've shown very good manners.
We are here, Mum.
What struck you most about it? Your first real glimpse of China?
Oh, every flat piece of land is cultivated. That's what really struck me. If it's only sort of like 10 metres square, it's cultivated. Unbelievable, everything.
Is it what you expected?
I didn't know what I expected. Didn't know at all. Didn't know at all.
Hey, just imagine when it's not I mean, he said
There, Davis.
I told you we want a mule.
Although it's only partially restored, the Great Wall is quite simply a marvellous artefact. 6,000 kilometres long, the only man-made object the astronauts could see from the moon. Even in an age of easy superlatives, it still manages to amaze.
I mean, how are you going to describe this? It's impossible, isn't it? You've got to see it to believe it. Tremendous. It's been the highlight of the trip so far, I would say. Plus that and cardiac arrest, getting out there. I'm looking forward to a training session now, after this.
Jack, come here. Did you really think you'd make it up to the top today?
No, I didn't know that was impossible. Absolutely. It's a little bit tight when I started, but the farther I walk, the better it gets. I'll probably know about it later on this afternoon and think I was an idiot, but the site's really well worth seeing. It's tremendous at the top, looking out the other side. Quite overawed, really. When one talks about 6,000 kilometres of something like this, it was basically just to keep the Mongol ponies out. You can't believe it. It's incredible. There's no other word to describe it.
It's completely different to what I expected. It makes you wonder how they built this in years gone by. Some of the lads said there must have been a lot of Irishmen in China around about then, but I don't know.
What do you think of it now you got here? You weren't coming this morning, were you? You weren't about to come.
I should have stayed and played tennis, really. No, it's impressive, isn't it? But, I mean, you've seen one wall, you've seen them all, haven't you?
Very clever, these Chinese.
What's like you?
Hey?
A few pounds, eh?
Oh, yeah. Never get it in like XX luggage, could you?
Never get in your briefcase.
Following the visit to the Great Wall, only 3 footballers choose to continue the tour to see the tombs and treasures of the Ming emperors. This apparent lack of interest in antiquities that tourists pay thousands of pounds to see may seem strange. But did it surprise former Arsenal manager Bertie Mee?
Not really, Julian. I've had this many times over the last few years in different parts of the world. I've always felt it was a great pity that they didn't seize the opportunity of seeing some of the wonders of the world, really. They've had the opportunity of seeing. But I tried to encourage them. I've laid on trips and ran buses for them, but I've always been very surprised that probably only 1 or 2 out of a party of 20 would like to take advantage of a situation like this, which has been absolutely tremendous.
But some of the sights they might have enjoyed, they don't have the chance to see, like this display of martial arts.
Go on, Mick. Go on, Mick. Go on, Mick. Brendon will fill in for you. Pick him off, Brent. Commit him. Down the flank. Edge it. Edge it. Go on. Go on. Can you hit the final third? That's not bad, Brendon. Over it. Go on, kill. 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 Mick. Watch them running past from the midfield. You and Pop.
The second Peking game is the big one, and the interest is intense. Again, 80,000 Chinese are packed into the stadium at 3p a time to see their national team take on West Bromwich Albion. A bit of a scramble, but finally Alistair Brown opens the scoring for Albion in the 7th minute. A disappointing start for the Chinese supporters, some of whom, in an unprecedented show of football fever, had queued 24 hours for tickets. But then in every way, the Chinese crowd are more partisan than we've been led to expect, and perhaps more demonstrative than the authorities would like. Frequent announcements demanding hush are totally ignored. Friendship first may be the motto, but there's quite enough competition to provide some lively football.
Well, after that first glimpse of the Chinese national side, what do you think of them, Ian?
I was very impressed. I mean, they're very skillful and they're very fast. All they really lack is the old pro experience of the European sides. They went tremendously well. And although the scoreboard there says West Brom 1, China 0, I mean, as we all know, it could have been 2-1 to China.
Well, they've got world-class players now, but what they'll have to learn to do is to live with the pressure. You can play as beautiful football as you like, but when you've got that ball, you've got to strike and strike quickly. And these fellows tend to be put off by if you notice, Martin is coming quickly out of defence and striking for the ball very quickly. And the man on it is lost. Nobody's ever dealt with him like that before. He's been allowed to settle, turn and use it. They won't get that in world football. It's anybody's guess how long it'll take them to overcome it, but they'll have to play against a lot of European sides before they get that.
Johnny! All that pouncing about there.
7 minutes into the second half, Cyrille Regis scores again for Albion. Two goals to nothing is the final result. The Chinese players leave the pitch to what in West Bromwich would undoubtedly be called the bird. The English players are warmly applauded, and well briefed as they are, they return the compliment. From the sporting and the diplomatic standpoint, things could hardly be going better. But as they set out for Shanghai, some of the players begin to make comparisons with other end-of-season tours. Bryan Robson.
It's not one of the places I would pick, China. I mean, so we went to Alicante last year, and to tell the truth, it wasn't great, but it was a place which I enjoyed because I love the sun and I love the beach. Where I've come to China and it's more of a place where you go sightseeing and things like that. And to me, it doesn't appeal too much, that sort of thing. Just all depends what you like. I mean, say in Shanghai, when the weather was good, there was people who like sunbathing. They just weren't interested in going to see, you know, places that people have said. They were just wanting to go and sunbathe.
And so, instead of wandering in the back streets of old Shanghai, they sunbathe and organise a sporting activity the Chinese have not yet taken up.
Spread the field! Spread the field! Run out, balls!
Despite their growing resistance to sightseeing, most of the footballers do see the celebrated Shanghai acrobatic troupe. It's something no one regrets. The Shanghai banquet is less formal than Peking. Whereas Albion give their rendering of Bladen races, the Chinese sing of less frivolous matters. To someone who visited China during the dreary killjoy days of the Cultural Revolution, this scene is almost unbelievable. The Chinese may not have a clue what it's about, and the cultural gap is still enormous. But the occasion is so obviously good-humoured that there is certainly contact of a sort, and it will be kindly remembered. Perhaps better remembered than the Shanghai football match, which most people considered the poorest of the tour. Despite a number of missed chances, Shanghai still lost 2-0. A gratifying win, but results are not the only thing that matter to the British supporters, to people like Brian Tyler, who follow football to see the world.
Mexico, Greece, West Germany, East Germany, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Portugal, Poland, Russia, Cyprus, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, North America. I think you name it, I've been there with them.
You're not, in fact, a West Brom supporter, are you?
No, I'm an Arsenal fan.
But apart from the football, Brian, what do you make of China?
It's the most socialist country I've ever been to, even more socialist than Russia or any of the Eastern European countries, certainly.
Has it changed your idea about socialism at all?
Oh, no, I'm a capitalist. Always will be. No. This country needs businessmen. If this country had got businessmen to come in here with some money and ideas, I mean, I've been to sites here, the Ming tombs and even the Great Wall. I mean, the things I could do with that. You could build cable cars, you could have helicopter rides like they do in the States around Manhattan. Fantastic. But they just won't let the businessman come in. They want to do it all themselves. They don't want any help from outside, and it's very wrong, unfortunately, because there are people outside with great ideas. And they could come up here and they could really make this country move.
Though Shanghai is no longer an outpost of Western capitalism, Western businessmen still do well here. And one of them helped promote and finance the West Bromwich tour.
You're a curious phenomenon, Jack, because you're a capitalist, a man who makes money out of dealing with a non-capitalist and, in fact, highly puritanical society. It's a strange relationship, isn't it? I mean, how do they resolve this with their conscience, and how do you?
Well, the very first contract we signed, which is now, it was on May the 10th, 1952. It's 26 years ago, almost to the day. The very first contract, I said, how much profit do you want me to make on this particular contract? Because I had no experience. And they say that the more the better. The more the better, because it will enable you to have a greater interest in us, and it will enable you from the profit to expand your activities. And do you know, over all these years, on no single occasion have the Chinese ever said to me, how much are you making? Or how well are you doing? Except when they feel something's gone wrong. That is, if we've made a loss. And in those circumstances, they will often say to us, can we help? So there's never really been a contradiction. They understand, they're very practical people, Chinese, that for a capitalist to continue to work successfully in China, he's got to make money. They respect that. And they've helped us to achieve that. And I make no bones about it. We've made money in China. And why not?
From Shanghai on to the famous resort city of Hangzhou for a 2-day rest period. Time to reflect on the trip so far.
I think I'm very lucky to have what I've got in England, now that I've seen China. The living conditions in England are unbelievable compared to here.
Bad compared to England, but good compared to this country 30 years ago.
And I'll certainly show a great more interest in China now that I've been than I would have done. I really, apart from reading in the paper and watching on the news, it would just be nothing more than a passing interest. But now I think I would take perhaps a little deeper interest. I've been fortunate enough to travel to quite a few countries and places through playing football. And every time I come away, I always feel that, well, there's no place like home. I think it's marvellous. But on the whole, I have found it very interesting, and I shall look back in later years, as I said, and pay more attention to China and what's going on here than I would have done. It certainly broadened my experience, and I hope it increased my knowledge.
But on the whole, Hangzhou, with its pagoda of the 6 harmonies, holds little appeal for the party. The great Gautama Buddha in the Linying Temple may have stood for 16 centuries and survived the Cultural Revolution. But it stimulates much less interest among our party than a tea-growing commune. This, after all, is how most of the 900 million Chinese are said to live.
What did they do? Were they picking the tea now, are they?
Yes.
Yes, that's the tea seeds. That is what? Seeds. That is the tea, is it? And how long does she pick that? She goes on picking all day long?
Oh, I see. And then, when they find that the tea bushes are not of high yielding, they just cut them off and then to have younger bushes growing up.
4 of the footballers are taken to see what they're told is a typical home. It happens to belong to a leading member of the management committee, and Miss Shen, the charming tea picker who greets them, happens to be her daughter.
Can you ask Miss San how old she is?
你今年多大岁数？18岁。18 years old.
18. And this is the father and mother's room?
Yes. Yeah, sit down, please.
Sit down, chap.
This one away.
Were you born on the commune?
你是在这个公社出生的吗？Yes, she was born here in the commune.
How long has she been working in the fields?
Every day, you mean?
No, since what age?
Oh, I see. 你从多大岁数开始就在田里工作？
就是今年。
今年。She started working in the fields from this year on.
This year. How often does she go to, say, to Hangzhou to watch the pictures or to go to the theatre or whatever?
他说你通常每个多久啊就到杭州去看看，比如说看戏啊，看什么电影啊之类的。
去的。
大概每个多久去一次？
一个礼拜基本上去一次。
No, normally once a week to Hangzhou.
Yes. Has she been to any other large town or city other than Hangzhou, which you mentioned before?
就是在外面，就是除了杭州以外，还有没有到个其他大城市去吧？
没去过。
No.
Would she like to travel? Would she like to perhaps go to Shanghai or Peking or even perhaps see another country?
你喜欢不喜欢到外面去看看？比如说上海啊、北京啊，甚至到其他外国去看看。
喜欢。
Yeah, she likes to.
She would like to.
Yeah.
And does she know anyone who has been to another country?
你认识不认识一下从外国来的人？有没有跟他们交谈啊？
没有。
No.
Has she got a boyfriend?
在外你有没有男朋友？
没有。
No, not yet.
Has she got her eyes on anyone?
她有没有看中一些人呢？
Stick it in! In the final match, Albion overwhelmed Canton 6-0.
I think it's been marvellous. I think to leave China undefeated and to have played so well, I think it's been a tribute to our professionalism.
From a football point of view, it's been most invaluable. Our lads have had to sort of live under conditions which are completely foreign to them. They've had to be the complete diplomats, frightened a little bit to put a step out of line in case of upsetting anyone. The Chinese, I get the impression, although they're very, very hospitable, are easily offended. They regard things that we would take for granted, they would regard as snubs, so we've had to be particularly careful about that. In terms of finding out about the Chinese, it's, we've learned a lot about them. They're different philosophies of life. I think we would find it very, very hard to adapt to their philosophies of life, but it's obviously something that works for them.
Some people have been remarking about the amazing financial difference between what you and the players earn and what your opponents are earning here in China. Has this embarrassed you?
Not really, not really. I suppose it's the same with the TV announcers and people like that. I think our general standard of living is, from a salary point of view, is higher all throughout our country. I mean, they're trying to make themselves a country from what we can gather. If I would feel, and I don't want to go into all the politics of it all, but I would feel if the next 30 years they can make the gradual progression and give a little bit of what we've got into their society, I think they'll have a very, very healthy society. If what we've seen is anything to go by, they seem as if they're on the right lines. As I said, it works for them.
That'll go down well.
It will, yeah.
About 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, very good, yeah.
Please play with me, Daddy. Right, you'll get one of these.
Yeah, it'd be great, mate. I've got to keep winding up, though. That's the only trouble.
Yeah.
Two?
One, just one.
Is that for your daughter?
I don't know. Well, I'm just going to get a pile of stuff all together. Right, they can all take the pick out what they want.
They're very nice, aren't they?
Yeah, well,
Great.
And you get them half the price in Marks and Spencer's.
Sure.
Like,
From Canton, the party heads for home. Back to that comfortably decadent Western world that lies across the frontier in Hong Kong.
This is the best 100-yard walk I've had the last 3 weeks.
Home, baby. Great, innit?